I am hanging out here today with Kylie. Hi, Kylie.
Hey there.
And we're going to have the first in what I hope becomes a series of art supply play and tell, which is instead of just show and tell, we're actually going to play and experiment and see what we can get up to. And today, Kylie is going to share with us her Inktense blocks, which is something I've never used and I've always wanted to try. And I don't have them, but I'm going to just do my own thing in the background. And we're going to create a wonderful drawing of, guess what? It's time to flip the camera around. Hold on, everybody. Here we go. Whoop. Of this wonderful cafe. Now, this is in the notification for the live, and it is actually on unsplash.com. You can download it for free, and it's copyright free art. And I just want to say a big thanks to the artist that shared that because that's a great photo. And yeah, that's what we're going to work on today and just have some playtime. If you want to draw along and play with us, and if you just want to hang out and listen and learn some stuff and be silly with us, then please do that. And yeah, so Kylie's going to be coming up as a featured artist on the Artful Desk, and I can't wait for that. But I would love to hear a little bit about the type of work that you do and why you like these Inktense blocks.
Well, I do mostly urban sketching. And I'm doing that thing where it's like, okay, I don't want to do just one thing. I want to do all the things.
Yeah.
So delving into all the other places. But the Inktense blocks actually make it easier for that. I normally just use straight out watercolor for
Yeah.
my urban sketching. But these are basically they call them ink, but they're classified as watercolors. So they're not
Oh,
technically ink, but they have this pigment
yeah.
and this deepness to them that make it seem like it's an ink. And once it's dried, then it's done. They don't bloom like you normally have watercolors. So you can take them,
Ah,
but once they're dry, that's the mark. So you want to make sure that you've got enough water and you're doing your thing. And it just takes a lot of experimenting just to find out what you want. Um,
right.
I used them on my the one picture I did. I did an urban sketch for a local restaurant. It wasn't for them, but everybody loved it, so it was like yay. And they had this amazing purple building downtown Kingman on Route 66. It's Old Town kind of area,
Yeah.
and I had to do it. And I used all watercolors around it, and then when it came to that building, the pigments of the Inktense was just amazing, and it covered it without any blooms and made it look like it was actually that solid color. It was really cool. I really enjoyed
Oh,
it.
is
I made
that
a
the one
mess.
that you shared in the community chat?
It was, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, folks, if you're catching the replay, jump into the community chat. You can sign up to the Artful Desk as a free subscriber. And I just put in a 40% off discount in your welcome email, so don't miss out on the secret link.
Mm.
But the community chat is free for everybody, and you can come and hang out and see art challenges and chat with each other and talk art supplies. But I think what I'm going to do is just sketch and chat, and then maybe hold it up to the camera if people have a question. And you know what, folks, if you're hanging out with us today or you're in the replay, let us know if you were working along with us. And if you did, put pictures in the community chat because it's fun to see each other's work and share and get everybody's take on how things look because we all do things a bit different. And
It
that's
is.
fun.
I always love doing. Okay,
Okay.
I'm not as professional as you are, so I'm just gonna turn my camera here and
So
put
that's
it.
good. You probably have a better view than me.
Oh, y'all see my coffee cup, and I'm working in a confined space right now because I'm in my travel trailer because that's where we're moving into. We're going to be doing full time living, so I'm going to
Oh,
be that artist on the go kind of thing.
well, that's cool.
It is.
Oh,
Is gonna. So with the Inktense, it's really interesting because you can use it with graphite as well. So when I do an urban sketch, that's going to use the Inktense. I try to use the graphite to make the lines because then they just blend in with the water, and they kind of
oh.
mute into the Inktense itself.
So do you put it your graphite down as a guide, or do you use the ink tense and then like a watercolor where you put the pigment down and then you put water into it and it'll pull it out, or is it just flat like using like a calligraphy ink?
Um, it's just like calligraphy ink. No, it's it's a little bit different. I don't know how to explain it exactly. So like if this is my graphite pencil and water, and your graphite just naturally blends out, right? So if I use my graphite pencil and I've drawn a few lines, and then let's use a little green here. So this is the blocks, the big blocks. They're chunky and they
Oh,
feel good.
wow.
Whereas these are the ones that come in the pans in the regular big sets or little sets.
Oh,
So there's a difference between the blocks and what are they called? Extra large blocks. That's what they're called. They
okay.
even tell you. They even have a little stamped symbol on them. Ooh, it's
Fancy.
extra large.
Hey,
And then
do
these guys.
you, sorry, I'm wondering if the big blocks are difficult to work with if you're doing plein air like you do, or like, do you think they're made more for people that are doing big canvases and that sort of thing?
I think there's a different level to how you would use each. Well, one of the things I want to point out is a lot of people see this and they go, "Oh, well, those are smaller. Those aren't going to last very long." These things last so long, and there's so much pigment in just a dab of it, kind of thing. With these, I use these for if I'm going to use a larger surface like that building that
Yeah.
I was like, sopping those up and getting those colors all mixed in and everything. And then I could do that and it didn't wear and tear on these guys as much. These are great for travel too because they're small
Oh,
and you can break them apart. You can use them in pan you could actually put a piece in a pan if you wanted.
are they hard like a Conte crayon block?
They are, you can actually do that thing that everybody does like that, but it's going to do the same thing on your paper as when you use a pencil and you write on your pencil, it leaves those little bits in there.
Right.
And the thing about these is if these aren't all if all these little bits aren't dissolved, they can activate later. So if you're putting water on something and it starts to muddy up, you're going, "Oh crap, I didn't realize I left that there." And it leaves those little
Oh,
lines. So I don't like to use them that way. I use them like this and basically just rub my brush on them. And look at that. I mean, it's just
oh, the
see
color.
that, but it goes on so nice. But
That's
then if I
pretty.
use it along with my, like if I've got a drawing or something and I want to draw on the lines, I can do that and it just blends it out kind of with the graphite and gives it a little bit more of that shadowy look. It doesn't take up as much. Of course, my lines aren't going to be as thick and heavy if I'm doing an urban sketch like that. But
It's occurring to me very quickly that I have forgotten all the rules of perspective drawing. I'm just laughing because it's something that I used to do, like years of doing this kind of work and then being in art school and stuff and like all that time later and it just goes out the window. But that's kind of why I love doing this sort of thing,
mm-hmm.
because A, you get to play with something that you maybe haven't done in a while, and B, you get to learn something new. And my brain likes to learn new stuff all the time. So I think it keeps you going and keeps you inspired and excited. And plus, art supplies.
You know, it's an addiction. It's a true addiction.
It is, and I try not to buy them very often. I had one of those weeks where a lot of stuff was going on and there was I was sort of in the stores because I don't live in a city. So I was in the city and in the shops and it was a 2 for 1 and I was like, oh, okay.
Okay, you can't
Twist
pass
my
up two for
arm. I'll buy
ones
something
and
I haven't played with before,
right.
and which I'm going to pull out later. That head
And
is
the
so
way I
big.
found these was, and this is an obsession. The way I found these was I had a Sketchbox subscription, which
Oh,
I'm writing an article about right now.
oh, that sounds good.
That thing is dangerous. It's just it introduces you to new things, and that's dangerous on its own for me.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be quite challenging, especially if you're someone who loves to play with new things all the time. And then all of a sudden there's something you get a little sample of, and then it's like, oh, must
You're
have
just like,
this.
oh my goodness, what is this new thing exactly?
I'm just standing up again so I can see what you're doing. Cool. I should have brought another device so that I can watch what you're doing. I'm just gonna check the comments here. I'm gonna put on my art glasses because I've got on my reading glasses and got them all backwards. Okay.
You have art glasses?
My art, I do. They look like this. The first pink thing I ever bought. Um, hey to everybody who's joined. So, oh, MG has a question. MG wants to know, what is your big brush that you're using?
Let's see. This guy here is like a mop brush. It's a,
Oh, that's beautiful.
I know, semi art.
Mm.
I'm not, I'm not positive, but I believe I actually got this in a, okay, another art box subscription. It's called Snack Box.
Oh, I've
And
heard of that.
yeah, well, the difference between the snack box and the sketch box is that the snack boxes, they, everything's full size. Like you get a full set of pens, and you get a full set of a huge pad of paper and full size everything. Whereas in Sketchbox, things are smaller. You get little, one or two pens. You get, I think I got five of the Inktense pencils when I got it. I
Oh,
got six
that's
pans of the Inktense paint, and that's the kind of thing that they do. So it's a little bit different, but at the same time, it gives you, again, too many new things.
that's a nice haul.
Just so everybody knows, in my 12-step program, I have canceled those subscriptions.
It could be like a
I
whole
still
artist
have a
support group,
login
right?
for the embarrassing part. If I wanted to, I could go back.
Oh, hilarious.
Ooh, I got some.
So you tend to do your painting first before sketch, or am I wrong? Because I was
Oh,
sitting down, couldn't see. Do you have
no,
yours sketched in?
actually,
Don't feel
I
like you have to
generally
move it.
sketch
I'm just
first.
curious. If you don't want to
I
move it, don't
generally
move it.
sketch first. So in this one, I've already
Oh, you did.
sketched it out, and that's in the graphite pencil.
Oh, I see.
So that as it dissolves, it'll it'll blend in, and I won't have to go back and erase the pencil marks.
Gotcha. So I'm curious about the plein air and the sketching. So what drew you to that versus other forms of, like, you were saying you love to do that and I like to do faces, and vice versa. We find a challenge. So what drew you to doing the buildings?
Well, the urban sketching part started, as everybody, many people did, as when you're locked inside for days on end, months, you had to have a hobby.
Yeah.
And I started watching YouTube, and I don't know if you've ever watched her, but her name's Taria, and she's in, I forgot her last name, but she's like urban sketchy, Taria Sketchy Adventures or something like that on YouTube.
Mm.
And she got me started. She was just easy to show things, the way she showed you how to do things, and it was just easy going. And then of course that takes you down a whole nother road, and I didn't know what urban sketching was until I started looking at it, and then I realized that I had loved Ian Fennelly's sketches all my life since I started looking at art. And Ian is like one of the best urban sketchers, I would say, that's out there. Don't want
Oh,
to offend
wow.
anybody, but I mean, he's the idol.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I'm really good with faces and not names, but I've been
Yes.
following him for years because
So
I
you've got
would
to take a class with him in
his
thing.
watercolors. I actually think I did a couple of his downloaded classes, and he had this watercolor combo that just set me off for months, and it was a Prussian blue and burnt sienna, and the two of
Yes.
them together was just like, and then they granulated, and I was like, oh. And I didn't really do his style, but I really enjoyed um listening to what he was doing and how he did it, and his ability to capture the character and the essence of a place. Plus he's really good at perspectives and stuff too, but
He is.
yeah, it's really neat.
And I mean, honestly, the man is hysterical. I mean, first of all, he's a very good teacher. I mean, when you get to take one of his classes, it's an amazing thing. And then you go to, when you're in his class, it's nothing but fun. Like we were taking a class, and there were other classes going on at the same time. And our class is laughing hysterically, and having all this fun, and everybody else is quiet. And they're all like, "What are you guys doing in there that you're having so much fun?" No, he's got a great sense of humor. He has stories. He really brings you into the fold kind of thing. It's really neat.
I have a question for you when you're doing your sketching,
Hmm.
because this is something I'm currently being challenged by at the moment, which is the amount of detail. So, are you someone who likes a lot of detail, or do you just kind of get the feel of the thing and then go from there?
I'm still in that trying to teach myself not to do all the detail at first. I like the detail, but I can get lost in trying to put all the detail in originally and not getting the color down and the shapes and all that. And then it doesn't look right to me. So, what I've been trying to learn is do the shapes, do the big shapes first, go back, do some color, then go in, do your detail, second to the last, do your shades, your shading and your shadows and like that at the very last, and add those finishing touches. So
Ah,
I love detail. It's one of the reasons I do a lot of I pen and ink on Bristol. I do a lot of the Sonoran Desert drawings, and because
mm.
I can do detail there, like it's just nothing but detail and making those cacti look like they're they're growing in a certain shape, and you can see the spines and all that kind of thing.
I love that. And I wish I had more access to that sort of thing. I just use a lot of photos, but
One of the
okay.
things you can do with these sticks also is you can wet them down and just put them on a piece of, like, I'm using a piece of palette paper here, so it's a got a glossy side,
Ah,
like you'd use it for oil paints and things like that. You can use it for any of your paints. You can use it for watercolors too. But you just put it on there, and then you have all of that pigment on there, and you can control how much water you have and like that from there. And it doesn't dry out right away. Also, adding water to your paper before you put the pigment down
I was going to
allows it
ask you
to
about
stay.
that. Yeah. So, what's your preference? Do you like to have a dry and then work wet into the pigment, or do you like to have a wet and then put the pigment of the stick on top?
I'm really bad because I love deep dark colors, and so I'll go full pigment at the very first and go, oh, I was supposed to do that lighter, and then work my way up and build. And so I do that. I'm just learning to put the water down first, and then lay the pigment on top of it. I hardly ever. A lot of people will use, like, they'll use their crayon and they'll put it like right on there because it just dissolves into the water.
Ah, okay.
Generally, don't do that, just because then I got to figure out how to get rid of all that pigment on there so it doesn't reactivate or activate when more water gets put on it.
That was the word from before I was trying to remember.
Activate.
Reactivate. Yep.
Yes.
Like, I'm going to liken this to something that the watercolor people will get this, a dot sheet. Because a dot sheet is one of those things that you see in the art supply store and you're like, why would I ever spend money on minuscule amounts of watercolor paper or paint? But the truth is, when you get a chance to try it out and see how the thing works before investing all the money,
Mm-hmm.
it's really kind of a neat thing. And so, like, for me especially, because I want to buy all the stuff and I've seen you
Right.
using these, and we've been getting to know each other a little bit on Substack for a little while. And it was one of those, like, I got so influenced, but I was like, I'm going to go and buy these. And I went to the art store and I was like, what am I doing? I don't even know how they work. I have no idea how to use them. I was looking up a bunch of videos and people do reviews, but there's not a lot of people actually using them.
Actually, just,
So,
and it's very. I mean, they're not cheap. The thing
no.
is, they're not cheap. So what I love doing is if I could find people to share it with and do, sit down, and it's like I would totally share these with somebody. It's not like I don't like to just like hoard it and, oh well, you can't touch them because they cost too much. It's like, no, try these out. These are so cool. You'll love these.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those things that a lot of us are missing because so many of us are working in isolation, or if we're fortunate enough, get to go around the country like you're doing. And it's really fun to have a group of peers to just hang out with and do some arty stuff without any pressure and not
Exactly.
worrying about how things look, and it doesn't have to be perfect and all that jazz. It's
And I think
just,
more people are finding that they can do that with the Discord, and and with Substack and things like that is just get together in a way like,
Yeah.
like you're doing, like you're putting out there.
Well, I always make the joke about this. Like, I tried to find the stuff that I was interested in, and I couldn't find it. And I'm sure someone out there has done interview series or videos on art supplies that are an ongoing, but I couldn't find it. And I thought, this is a great way to find like-minded people and also have a bit of fun because that was something I really was missing. And I like having the actual ability to chit chat while we're doing it, because it's
Hmm.
fun. It's fun to do it on your own, but having someone to talk about it as you're playing with it, or talking about mutual interest, it's exciting. Have my human to human moment of the day before I go back into my little hermit cave, which I'm quite fond of. But yeah,
I can get too peopled sometimes.
oh yeah, I'm full introvert over here, so like I find this quite nice because you can do your chats and then you're done. But you feel, but you feel like you had your, little bit of interaction for the day. So that's cool. All right. I have no idea how to handle the detail that's going on in here. And for anyone who doesn't know what we're drawing, this is what this is what I'm being challenged with at the moment. So this is where I was really curious about what you're doing, Kylie, and like the detail that's going on in this room. Do you do like all the lights and stuff, or do you just block it out by shape and color?
I just did the big shapes. So I did the awnings and that middle orange piece and the big orange piece on the on each side, the window kind of shapes. So both of the awnings and then the people down below, and of course that really cool barrel. And then
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm filling in, and then we'll go in and put in the other stuff. Right now, I'm just trying to figure out the color for that whatever's up above there, and I'm screwing that up completely. But we're just gonna go with it. This is on purpose. Yeah, that's right.
Well, gotta love a happy mistake.
Right?
Happy little trees, happy little mistakes. Shout out Bob Ross. Even though I'm not a huge Bob Ross fan, I loved the man for who he was because he was just Bob, just unapologetically being himself, being the
He's just
dude.
Bob.
Okay, I'm gonna do a bunch of windows within windows and windows on the side.
There you
And
go.
ba-choom, ba-choom. Oh shoot, there was supposed to be three. Oh well.
As the famous Ian Fennelly says, there's not enough time in life or something like that to count windows. Life is too short to count the windows. That's what it is.
So as you're driving around the country and enjoying all the different places that you're going to or hanging out with in a little bit, how do you figure out what it is that you want to draw? Like, do you have sort of a ritual where you go into town and say, hey, I'm going to go find some cool buildings, or do you go and take pictures, or do you even think about it?
So what I did is, as soon as we purchased our travel trailer, I started keeping instead of a journal, a lot of people just journal where they go. I started keeping visual journals. I started sketching every location we stayed at, what our trailer looked like parked in that location, signage for the trailer park that we were at or wherever, um, different events that we go to. I was in Seaside, Oregon, so I, drew the Seaside, Oregon sign, things like that. So that's my focus when we travel, to make sure that I keep up with that. And then aside from that, I have some other sketchbooks like everybody else. I've got the million sketchbooks. I'll
Yep.
draw something else where it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. I'll try drawing that. So I've got the focused set of my Stillman and Burns that I use at the same size, and I'm on volume 6 of that. And
Oh.
I need to do the whole reveal thing, page flip through of those. But again, focus. There's a squirrel outside, and I'm out. I'm gone.
So did your sketching sort of start like a travel journal, or were you doing it before?
I was doing it before. I took a lot of the online courses, or not online, but the YouTube stuff that Taria was doing,
Right.
and also sketching Scotty. I like the way he draws his people and houses and things like that. So there's different YouTubers that I just was like, oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. I want to try that. And so I would just kind of follow them or try to sketch something for them. went on Pinterest a lot and found the houses in Amsterdam and things like that. Those are just European buildings are just gorgeous.
Yeah,
And they're
they
so
really are.
fun to draw. So that's the kind of thing. And then I did sign up for a bunch of Ian's courses online and learned a lot in those. So it's basically just um, trying out different things with different people. It just attracted me. I was drawn to it more because I can't do real. Okay, let me take that back. That's not you can't do it, but I just don't enjoy the frustration of trying to do realistic faces and things like that.
Right.
So I'd rather be able to scribble around and say, "Oh yeah, that was you."
I find this it's kind of the opposite for me because, which is why I love doing this sort of thing. I love challenging the other part of my brain at the moment because I do and have come from a background of photorealism in painting. And so that's part of how I ended up with watercolors, which was my little origin story of the watercolors was that I was just too much of a perfectionist with my I would do these big acrylic paintings and photo reproduce things and you just get so stuck in the details and I would spend hours and I'd be like like literally painting dots with a 0.00005 brush.
Mhm.
And then I took a break because I got ill and I needed a break and then I came back to art and I was like I don't want to do that anymore. I want to see if I can try something else. I know, I'll do watercolor. That'll be easier. For anybody who knows, like this really deserves a camera flip because watercolors easier? No. But also, they're really fun because you can play with that medium in a very different way than the traditionalists would have you think. And so that's what I started doing. And I really enjoy it because I started painting photorealistic, but then I let it go. And the more I played with it and learned how to just let the watercolor do what it wants, which I think is the secret, actually,
It
um,
is.
the more it was becoming enjoyable for me. And yeah, I've just sort of stuck with it. Plus, I love learning something new and I love a challenge. So that's always fun. Okay.
One of the things that I love about watercolor is that I've been that perfectionist kid all my life. So if I was in school and a report and you had to go home and back when they gave you homework and you had to do the homework, if it wasn't absolutely perfectly lined up or I had to erase too many times, I would just start over. Like I needed it to be absolutely perfect. Everything needed to be the same size and all that. And so when I got into the watercolors and the drawings and especially urban sketching drawing, then it took away that my ability to be perfect.
Oh,
And that
interesting.
like I can sit here and draw this and it's not a straight line and that doesn't really go there and that doesn't cross there, but it doesn't bother me as much anymore. Where it used to be like, oh, I can't do that. That's not going to work for me, because I needed it to be exactly. I can have squiggly lines and I could, but that's one of the things that always drew me to Ian's stuff too. Was just like, oh, those squiggly, those wonky houses are really incredible.
I had a thought, but it drifted away. I was going to ask you a question. It
Oh
totally
man, I have this.
flew out my head because I was drawing lines. When you're doing the sketching of like when you're out and about, do you ever do like a timed thing or do you just sit and do it depending on how much time you have that day or, if the weather's a certain way or you just feel like it?
I am a do it while I have time person. The time stuff I've tried, and I just don't enjoy it. I need to do it because one of the things that I've started. Okay, here's another thing I'm starting to get into. I really like the idea of what do they call live event illustration,
Yes,
and
yeah.
I've always been drawn to the courtroom drawings and things like that. But you got to be fast for that stuff. You can't be dilly and dallying. So
Mm.
I really should be. looking at doing stuff like that and learning how to control my time limit and things like that.
Well, I think there's like many things, right? It will create for everybody a different state. Some people really love the timing because it can push them and you can really end up with a result you wouldn't have otherwise. Some people
Hmm.
get very anxious and stressed. I do sometimes, but I do like to try something new. And I've been doing art hang party with Melissa. I think Melissa actually joined us today, which I'm
I
just
think
like,
I did one of those. It
wow.
was incredibly fun. I had so
I'm
much
having
fun.
like fangirl moment.
Yeah, right.
Somebody that I really love to watch is
Aw.
watching me. Oh my god. Hilarious. But I really love her stuff because she does it with the timer and and it's really challenging me to do stuff in a very different way that I would have.
Hmm.
It's also really good because um it's just helping me fight my old insecurities that love to pop up and then remember, oh by the way, that doesn't it doesn't mean anything.
It
It's
doesn't
just a
matter.
doodle, and it's okay if it looks a certain way, and, and a really nice group of people that sort of get together through digitally and then post their art after, which I love because then you get to see it,
I
which is
joined one
fun.
of those with her, and I need to go back and do it again because it was so much fun just being around everyone and listening to them talk. I mean, I didn't know anybody there, but you just didn't feel left out. It was really inclusive, and you just felt like you were part of the gang, you know,
Yeah, and I
which can
really
be
like
hard for
the
some people when they're walking into a bunch of new people and everybody knows each other. And
yeah, I really like the opportunity to throw the art up in Discord afterwards, and then everybody can see how other people have interpreted the same photos, and
Mhm.
which is a reminder, if anybody's playing along with us today, please throw your pictures in the throw your pictures. My metaphors today. Add your photos into the community chat if you feel the need, the desire. It's always fun to see what everyone else is doing,
I
and
love
it's
it.
a really nice community of people that have started hanging out in there. And I'm really grateful to all of you that watch my videos and connect with me. And I'm still kind of in shock that I got a paid subscriber this week, and I'm still like, what? Really?
That's awesome.
Somebody wants to pay me to watch what me doing what I love? Oh my god! Like, I'm just it's like, oh wow,
But you
it's
do
pretty
good for
exciting.
them, you know. It really is. It's endearing, and you get to experience. You have the same reactions to art supplies and to people and things that everybody else does. So that
Yeah. Well, it's
you're
just something.
relatable.
It's it's fun to have something you're so excited about. That's very. I wouldn't say it's niche because all artists love art supplies. That's a no brainer. But if you have people in your life who aren't into art, they don't get it. Right? And that's fine because we all have our thing, but it's really cool to be able to share that love of it with other people that also love it and, you know, get to see all the things that are out there and how people use it. And I mean, everybody loves a sneak peek into somebody's studio. So that's why I did it.
Yeah, and the studio thing. That's one of the things that I'm trying to really embrace is that a studio to one person is some of us have the advantage of being able to have a separate space to work in, and then there's others that just don't. You're working wherever you can get, you can fit some supplies on. I'm usually working at my office desk, or this is the area I'm in right now is our desk that we use when we're traveling. There's a setup here, and then there's a setup over there for us to each be working on our own thing with double monitors and all the whole spiel.
Yeah.
And you just use what you can and don't let it stand in your way, because your setup doesn't have to be perfect. Like, it doesn't have to be what everybody else has.
No, absolutely not. And I think that's really important that it's kind of like art supplies in general. I'm going to ask you again about the colors. So did you put your colors down and then work water on them, or did you wet your page first?
For instance, in this area, I put the water down first, and then I had dissolved the Inktense on the palette paper and then added it to the watered down area. Whereas you can kind of see I don't know if you can see it, but there's the streak marks where I added it just dry on
Right.
here. And you can see those streak marks. Now, if I go over it again, it'll make the color more intense and deeper and darker, but it will cover up the marks. So here's the really cool thing about it. So once it's dry, like I was saying, yeah, dry, you go over it and it doesn't come up. It does not change. It is there.
Right.
And that's what, a lot of people love about it. And what I was using it for, that one was just, I can put it down and know it's going to stay there and I don't have to worry about it. But I can always add color on top of it. And I can cover up if there was a mark there or something, I can cover that up.
Oh, so it's really opaque then.
It can be very opaque or it can be very light. The more water you add, the lighter the color is and the lighter the application is.
Okay.
So
That's
if I
interesting.
do,
It's quite,
so I just got like a basic, this orange here. It's
yeah.
just kind of light. Then I can add more to it.
Oops.
And the more pigment you add, the darker it's going to get. Now, if I let that dry, so it's kind of light, a little bit darker, a little bit darker, and when this dries, I can start adding more pigment on top of it, and it's just going to get deeper and deeper. But I've hardly used any of this. I mean, I've just been wrecking on it, but you don't even see an indent in it. The other thing a lot of people like to do is, where's my handy dandy spray bottle? They like to use their spray bottle on it, and you can keep it wet that way too.
Oh, right onto the stick.
You can just put it on, you spray your paper,
Okay.
and then you can make that your wet surface. And you can keep it wet that way. So if you have a large piece that you're working on and you need it to all stay wet so you can do all the things you want to do, blending. See, like I'm going over this.
Yeah.
See how it turns muddy? That's because I had this part in here that wasn't completely dissolved. So it's picking up and it's activating. It's not reactivating, it's just actually activating for the first time.
Oh, neat. Wow, it's so completely backwards to the way that I do watercolors.
It
That's part of,
is. It
I like
is.
that though, because then you be using that other part of your brain, right? It's like left, right
Mm-hmm.
brain. That's fun. Ugh, my
It
lettering.
does get, it's a little bit, these feel a little bit, they almost feel waxy a little bit, but they aren't. They do have a little bit of transfer onto your fingers if you hold them too long or like that, or if you hold them when they're wet, because when you touch them, they're just gonna, they're, they can stain.
Right.
I don't
Okay.
know, where's it at? What primary school was like for a lot of people, but when I went to school, they made us wear these extra large men's button-up shirts as our smocks. So I
Right.
actually bought one, and then I don't have to worry about what it getting color on it or anything like that. But and it's good for when I'm using the Inktense because I will do that stupid thing where I'll go, oh man, and I'll rub it off on my shirt and go, oh, crap. Now I've just ruined that shirt.
You just gave me a childhood flashback. I forgot about those things. That's hilarious.
They're amazing, and it makes you makes you feel like, oh, I've been a real artist because when your smock starts getting covered in paint.
I love that.
Let's see, what do I want to do? Oh, I was drawing. I was drawing.
This is fun. I haven't done this in so
I'm really
long.
enjoying it. Thank you.
Oops. Oh, never put your tea next to the watercolor water.
Did you
Ah.
just drink? Did you just drink?
Oh well, we called it the extra flavor art style. Let's give her some blue pants. All right, I need a thicker brush, I think. So when you're doing your painting with the Inktense blocks, now that I've taken a break, my questions are coming back. Do you have to use a dedicated brush? Do they stain the brushes quite badly?
No, I use my same brushes that I use in my watercolor. They rinse out perfectly fine. I don't use anything specific. I just use a regular watercolor brush.
Ah, okay.
Like I
That's
said, they're basically watercolors. That's all they are. They just have the ability to be really intense, intense.
yeah, really bright and
Yeah.
saturated. like the phthalates, the phthalo blue or phthalo green, which
Oh,
are
those are my favorites. I
they're
love those.
like one of the first mistakes, and I bet a lot of other people doing watercolors did this too, is you see those colors and you're like, oh my gosh, and you buy the big tube, not realizing that a tiny tube will last you an entire lifetime because the pigment in those is so strong. But that's okay.
Exactly.
You live and you learn, right?
What I found is that I had those and I did the exact same thing. I bought, a bunch of them and oh, I didn't need that much. But it allows me to, when I find somebody who wants to learn to watercolor or wants to learn, wants to try things, I can share that color with them and not feel like I'm, oh my gosh, I'm not, I can't share this with you because it's so expensive. I mean, that is one of the things is just being able, especially when you see kids and they go, oh, what are you doing? And you're like, do you want to try?
Yeah.
And they get their eyes light up and they get so interested and they do things that you wouldn't even have thought of doing, which is what, with the kids side of it. So those are the kinds of things that I like sharing the watercolors with a lot of different people. So it doesn't feel like I'm wasted. I don't mind buying the tubes as much. But I
Now I
have,
know.
so I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, no, you finish your story because I think my question will take you off track and I want to hear the end of that. Sorry.
So I have gotten to where I'm, traveling. When I travel, I have my travel kit and I'm trying to find lighter weight. There's I'm gonna squirrel on you because there's literally a squirrel outside my window. Um, and I know he's gonna go eat my plants because that's what he does. Um, when I'm traveling, I try to find the things that are lighter weight. I try to find the things that are not going to get me stopped in TSA, the things that aren't going to explode in the plane. When I'm terrified of taking um, a like a Sailor Feud pen or something like that, and having the ink just be everywhere when I get off the plane, that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
it's a very things like the new they have Daniel Smith came out. Darn them, they came out with this new watercolor sticks, and
Yes, I saw
it's
those. Yeah.
watercolor, and they're not for drawing or anything. They're just like a pan watercolor basically, but they are easier for me if I'm taking then I have to take a tube. So I don't have to, if I know that color's getting low or it's a color I use a lot and I'm afraid, it's going to be a 3 week trip and what if I run out? I've never run out of watercolor in my trips. I don't know what I'm thinking. But I can take that color stick with me and not worry about a tube being, crunched or being in the sun too much or anything like that. And so I really like that idea.
I like that idea too. I haven't played with them because they are a little um,
Expensive.
difficult to get. They're not something that the local carries, and I'd have to pay for shipping and all that jazz. So that is
Yeah.
a big consideration for me. Plus the whole international tariffs jib jabs going on.
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah.
there's so many interesting things that are out there now that are available, and that I would like to try. And it's really fun because when I first started doing watercolors, I bought. Actually, this is one of the first palettes I ever bought and I love to share this with people. And I don't know if you can get them anymore, but if you can and you're a beginner, grab one of these because and I love to say this in every live because it's really important. You don't have to buy the expensive fancy stuff to start, but if
Yep.
you buy the lowest quality of watercolor paints, you're not going to get results like you're seeing on videos. And that's where people get really disheartened and frustrated because they put a lot of time and energy and then think that they're not talented. And it's not that at all. It's just that the art materials are not good enough. So something like this, which is a mid-range, and has
Mm-hmm.
incredible look at the intensity of the pigment, and this was a like $25 palette that comes with all these colors plus this great palette that has wells and even some inside, and I'll just show one of the other ones. So for anybody that does like to paint outside, it's actually a plein air. It's got the little thumb loop on it, so
Oh,
if you're the kind of person that likes to have that,
mm-hmm.
it gives you all those options. So for 30 bucks now, I think they are, you just can't go wrong. And check your local before you go to the big box, folks. But if you can't
Right.
find them, then the big box has it, and they're a nice little investment. But definitely, when you first start out, you don't need the expensive stuff. But it's worth getting something that will last a little bit. And when you do feel comfortable, then investing in like Daniel Smith or Core or Sennelier or Schminky Schmanky Schmunk, which I can never pronounce, so I say it 7 different ways because I
I
don't really
know,
know
me
how to
too.
say it. Um, then it's really worth it, and you can see a difference in the more expensive pigments for sure. But also, who wants to pay $35 for a tube of something you use once, right? So,
Right.
oh, I'm getting too fancy with this. I need to just
Can it be
get some
that
color
thing
down.
like where you go to Costco and you share it with other people and you all just pay a certain amount for it and just share the art supply? That wish we had something like that.
Oh, I don't have people in real life to do that with. That's why I do a lot of these videos, but that's a good idea. If
I
you
don't have
can.
either.
I,
I try to when
that's,
we travel. I try to hit up as many of the urban sketch groups as I can in that area. So I'm always looking to say, oh, okay, so when are they meeting? And it always seems to time either they've just had theirs and I'm late, or they it's raining. Cats and dogs outside. That just happened to me in Oregon. I was going to go to their sketching meetup, and it was raining, and I was in Washington just across the bridge, and it was like, people drive crazy in the rain, and I made up every excuse possible actually. Um, but I just joining those different groups. I really think people, if they look on Facebook or Instagram, all those groups are out there, and they're usually posting where they meet up, and it's just a great way to get to meet those people and interact. And I've never come across a group that wasn't super inviting and wanting you to be. The Portland group is really awesome, and
oh, I bet. Portland is awesome.
Portland is. I actually grew up there.
Oh, did you? I
Yeah,
only got to go there once and I really enjoyed it. I got to do the train down. They had this gorgeous train. I think it was called the Starlight or something like
yeah.
that. And it
Mm-hmm.
went along the coast and it was absolutely beautiful. What I'm really curious about is something you just brought up because, and I think this is really an interesting thing. Um, Urban sketching has become such a fun activity that there are so many opportunities available to do it pretty much everywhere now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a really good one for anybody that's just starting out. And, do you have any tips for someone who's a beginner and might be feeling like they're either shy or they don't feel their work is good enough?
Um, yeah, because I'm one of those people. Um, basically, you can practice at home. I know what one of the things is. There's a purist part of urban sketching, and it's not that it's bad. It's just that the how I understand it, the basis of urban sketching is that you're on site. You're drawing what you see. But sometimes you can't just draw it on site because of weather or because of safety issues or things like that. So you take the picture and you draw it, and it doesn't make it any less of a good drawing. It doesn't make it any less of an experience. You'll have a lot of people say, well, if it wasn't done on site, it's not a true urban sketch. And I'm like, okay, well,
What?
but it's it, it's not a bad thing. It keeps it where how it's supposed to be, but at the same time, it can turn people away because they think, well, I can't post my urban sketch because I didn't actually draw it there.
Oh,
And
wow.
that's sad because yes, you can. Now, when you have groups like I started the urban sketching group in Kingman, Arizona, there isn't anybody else here doing urban sketching. It's just me, from what I can figure out. But I'm gonna make this work. And we're not a chapter yet, but in the chapter, when you look at the rules and how you become an actual chapter, it has to be true urban sketches that are posted on the site and things like that.
Oh,
So I think that I need to, even though I want it to be a chapter, I think I need to lower that expectation down to it just needs people drawing what they see, what they see in the pictures and like that, because that's where the true love starts to build. And there may be
mhm.
people out there who you're never going to be comfortable sketching in front of other people. That is one of the things about a meetup is when you meet, there's going to be other people and people stop and they admire. I don't know of anyone. I mean, there might be people out there who will stop and go, well, that's rubbish. That doesn't look like that. I'm always worried when I sketch somebody, they're going to go, do I really look like that? And it's like, no, I just can't draw people.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack in that. Okay, so first
Thank
off, I feel very naive. I had no idea that urban sketching was an organized thing with chapters. And wow, okay, so that's interesting. Well, I guess there's always somebody wants to put the rules on stuff, and that's fine. You know, that's going to be very appealing for some people and not for others. I would be in that second camp. Um, but also the thought of the insecurity of doing it publicly because you're worried about other people like looking over your shoulder or judging your work. I totally get that. But I
Mhm.
think for me, I get more self-critical than I'm worried about what other people are thinking,
I
especially
agree.
when you're a beginner and, you know, you're just starting out and trying to figure out like even what the heck you're doing. And, yeah, I can see that definitely being a concern, but also the joy of just being out there doing something you like with people that also enjoy what they're doing and having some fun and not taking it all so seriously. That's
Yes.
what's appealing to me. A little bit
I
different for everyone.
want to just enjoy the time that I have with them, and then at the end of an urban sketching event, usually you have what's called a throwdown, and then everybody
Throwdown. Okay.
throwdown is you take everybody who's done their sketches, if you want to share, everybody puts their sketches down on the ground, and then you get to look at everybody's sketches that were there for that day, and they usually do a
Um,
picture and they post the picture of all the sketches, and um, Priya is one of the people that started. She started the urban sketching group. I think she has a co-founder, but they're in Sacramento, and
right.
she does amazing. She's grown that. They've grown that group huge, and every time I see them, they're doing something new and something amazing, and their sketchbook throwdowns are just huge now,
I have seen that. I didn't know it was called a throwdown. That's so funny. That makes me think of boxing.
right?
I think, yeah, you know, that's part of what draws me the most. It's one of the things I miss. Now, I went through formal training in art school, but I didn't do painting. I did graphic design and very different approach. But, you know, it was the late 80s and graphic design was the big thing then.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I really enjoyed that I hadn't done in years was they used to just call it a critique or a crit, where at the end, everybody would put their work down and talk about what they saw, what could be improved, their take on it, their impressions. And I think that sort of thing really, really can help you grow as an artist and also as a person, right? Because you can learn to take constructive criticism and you can learn to see, okay, well, maybe that's true for you, but I don't really see it that way. And just let go of the worry of what other people think about your work and just begin to enjoy it for what you like.
Exactly. I want to show you something that you can do with these Inktense blocks.
Oh,
And the
yeah.
pencils don't work the same.
Mhm.
The white in the pencils isn't as opaque, but on the Inktense blocks, the white actually, let me get my paint down here. If I go over, let's see, what do I want to do? I want to lighten this part. If I go over this with the white, it doesn't seem like much right now. It just seems kind of, it's a dull white like that. But as it dries, it actually lightens up and becomes opaque on top of it.
Oh,
So
interesting.
this right here, so I could lighten that up because I want to put some more orange in there, but I already put the brown down. So I can put the white on it and let that dry, and then I can come in and put orange on it, and I'll have more. So there's a lot of different layering techniques that you can use with these.
Cool. I can't wait to see that up close when you're done. That's so neat looking already. I'm just getting kind of trying to figure out what to do because I find like this is something that I love is detail, but I'm getting really stuck in the details in here and I see this just doesn't feel transparent. So I'm just trying to think of how to get this a little transparent looking without being muddy.
I
It's always a
understand.
challenge. That's a question. Do you find that the ink tents can get quite muddy if you start layering up, or do they retain their vibrancy?
Well, because they when they dry, they can't be reactivated. They don't muddy. If you try doing them when they're all wet all together, you can definitely muddy them. But
Right.
once it's dry, it won't lift again. It can't become muddy. It just either darkens or it puts another color on top that makes it look different. So, for instance, all of this is dry. So no matter what color I put on there, I can put yellow on here and yellow's going to show up. But it's
Okay.
not going to muddy because it doesn't reactivate the color.
And how are they for color mixing? Can you do color mixing right on the page if you overlaid blue on top of a yellow zone, for instance?
You can if they're not dry. So, for instance, let's do that. Let's take a blue. Let's take a yellow. Put this up here. Use some light. Okay, so I'm gonna go through the yellow first. Put some yellow down on there. And it doesn't matter. I can touch it with the yellow on it. Nobody dies. And then you can just mix your colors. We want a little more yellow in there. So you can mix. If they're wet, you can do anything normal watercolor. It's just once they're dry on the paper, they're done.
Right.
You can't repick them up. So mixing is everything about it is on the table, just like regular watercolors. And then, being the OCD that I am, I'm going to wipe these off.
So you can just pull it right off then.
Yeah. And you can also, one of the things that people talk about is you can scrape it.
Ooh, I love when you get other tools and can get in there and start mucking about with it.
You can use a little one of those little baby cheese graters, or um, a lot of people have, Derwent actually makes this little, really all it is a cutting board that has some rigid edges on it. You know how cutting boards have like that scratchy kind of area? And
Yeah.
you just rub it on there and it comes off. But these just basically, you just take this and you can scrape off some of it.
Ah.
And so, I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's like on the edge.
Actually, if you want to pull that just a little bit closer to you, because right now, oh, there we go.
This is all the stuff I just scraped off. And so
Oh,
you
I
can
see.
it'll actually wet down.
Oh, so kind of like pulling graphite off of a pencil and then using
Exactly.
that.
So you can
Oh,
do
neat.
that. You could hit those down and then use a spray bottle on them and activate them to make kind of a different, I don't know, starry effect or something like that. So this is all the the big set, all the stuff. And then in here, this is like a makeup case that I used to travel with. So I've got all my pencils.
Ooh.
These are my Inktense pencils. I took them out of the case because these cases are, they can get heavy once you start packing all of them in. And
Yeah.
then, because I'm me, this is the pans, which don't come in the full big set. They come in two different smaller sets. And so I got both of those, and then I have the color pans.
Oh, wow. What a gorgeous collection. Okay.
I know. And that's the obsessive part, that I have to have all of them.
So did you start out with a small kit or did you buy a single just to try it out and then you got hooked on it and kept going?
I started out with the sketch box set that they sent. So this
Oh,
is
oh,
my
that's right. Yes, because you said you had the very addicting Sketchbox
exactly.
subscription.
And then once they
Another thing I'm curious about is because they do blocks, but they also do pencils. I just found this out yesterday. So is that something you use as well, or do you just
that's
do
what
the
yeah,
blocks?
that's what was in the pencil case.
Oh, I thought they were pencil crayons. My apologies. Got that
No,
all
well,
confused.
technically they're like a pencil crayon, but no, those are what those are, because the containers are a metal, and so that's the big set of pencils, and it just gets heavy. So in hopes of keeping things a little bit lighter in the trailer, because everything's about weight, I tried to downsize the actual containers holding everything.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay. How's it going over with yours? Now, do you tend to spend quite a bit of time on yours, or do you like to do them really quickly?
This one's going a little bit longer than, I mean, it depends on how much detail. This one's hard because there is so much detail in here.
Yeah, there's a lot going on for sure.
So I'm just doing the basic, trying to get some of the cool stuff in here.
Do you have a favorite type of building when you're doing these? Like, do you pick something that has sort of a similar theme, or how do you pick what you want to draw?
I love the ones that have the big old fashioned cinder block looking things like a courthouse or something like that, where
Ah,
the the blocks are, they're like they're kind of scribbly all the way around them.
kind of like the building that's over top of the cafe that we're drawing.
Yeah, exactly. Sort of just, old and weathered. And I'm doing a complete sketchbook of a bunch of sites in Kingman. And a lot of the buildings here are like that. So I've been able to practice that and get those down a little bit better. So I'm excited about those.
I keep thinking Cayman Islands. Where's Cayman?
Kingman, Arizona is about an hour and a half from Las Vegas on the main highway coming out of Las Vegas.
Ah,
Going
okay.
and then it links into the Interstate 40, which takes you all the way across the United States from California to, and we're right on Route 66. So it's one of the major Route 66 stops when people are coming through. This is our 100 years bicentennial thing going on.
Oh,
So it's a whole big thing of, Kingman being on that route.
100 years already. Wow. I did the Route 66 drive when I was a youngin'. I had a fun
Yeah.
time.
So you would have come through Kingman.
I probably would have. There was so many cool things to see and to get distracted by.
There were.
I'm sure there still are now.
It's a very cool place. It just doesn't have, I mean, and it's very accepting of new artists. It's not you don't get a lot of the people who are, well, that's not art. That's not in oils, and you haven't been doing it for 40 years, and you didn't
Yep.
study under Picasso and things like that. So I like it in that respect that they're very open. A lot of newer artists, a lot of tattoo artists are here. Just people finding their way, and it's open to that.
Yeah, I love that. I love inclusivity because with inclusivity comes inspiration and new forms of art and acceptance for people as they are in the way that they're doing whatever they're doing. Because otherwise, things get very stodgy very, very quickly.
Right. And people just want to, they just want to do, show what they see. And everybody, reality is not everybody sees color the same way.
It's true, literally and figuratively.
So you have to kind of go with that and see what color do you see, kind of thing.
Yeah. So there's my little drawing. And I hope you guys enjoyed that and you had some time to play and create something. Oh, look at that. That's gorgeous. That's great. I love
And
your
again, it's
windows.
one of those things where I'm looking at it going, that's not my best work. But I'll come back and look at it in 2 days and I'll really like it.
Oh, it's great. I like it. Thank you so much for playing
Thank
today
you for
and
having me. This was
for
fun.
sharing everything and telling us about those ink blocks because now I'm tempted to go get some, which is one of those moments where I'm glad it's an hour drive to the art supply store.
But
So I've
because
ended
you
up,
can mix the colors, definitely get like the set of 6 or 12, the primary colors, and learn to mix. Because yeah, it's got all these colors, but they mix just like watercolors.
yeah. Oh, awesome. I'm excited.
You'll
Well,
enjoy
thank
them.
you. Thanks for being here. Don't forget to subscribe. You can be a free subscriber and you still have access to the community chat and you can share any work and ask questions and talk about art supplies because that's why we're here. Okay, you guys, I'll see you on the next live and
Thank
have a
you.
great day.
It was fun.
Bye.
Bye bye.